Just pause. When you're new or when you're meeting somebody new, reflect on situations like that and again begin inhaling the basil. And then pause. Your awareness is on the back solar plexus, which is the mid back, that area below your shoulder blades. And then just pause. Just be still. Just let everything. Now we're going to do the diaphragm again. So the bottom of the rib cage. You feel some tension in any of these areas at the bottom of the ribs? Put your awareness there and breathe into it. And then pause. Just pause and be still. We're going to do that one again. We're going to do the diaphragm. So again, the bottom of your ribs, nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And just pause. Let's do the diaphragm one more time. So the bottom of the ribs, that whole area. And then just pause. Let it go. How'd that feel for you? Yeah, like an unwinding. Very good for the nervous system. Your sex chakra, your awareness is on the sex chakra. and then pause. Last, the Mingmen, the low back, the backside of the navel. And then just be still. Think about how you feel right now. You go back and recall situations that we did at the beginning of the day where we felt abandoned or felt rejected or just felt awkward. How does it feel? How are your thoughts? So we're still going to go through and work the limbic system a little bit more with that splendor. So like I said, we're going to keep working splendor. We're going to keep tempering this aspect. So in your kit, you're pulling out spur. In your oils, you're pulling out splendor. Left side of your body, head to ankle. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. How's that feel? Then the front side of your body, down the whole front side, your face down to the tops of your feet. The right side of your body, the whole right side, from the side of your head down to your ankle. And then the back side of your body, down the whole back side, head to heel. And then just be still. We're going to do it one more time, the splendor. Left side of your body, head to ankle. Nice, long, slow, deep breath. the front side of your body, from your face down to the tops of your feet. The right side of your body, head to ankle. The back side of the body, back of the head, down the whole backside, ending up at the heel. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then just pause and be still. Just let it incubate for a moment. Hey, let's go ahead and share experiences, ask questions. You can unmute yourself. You can type in.
Just for now, please send them over to Plant Prana Oils. I might miss it. Otherwise.
Hi, Greg.
Yay.
This class is really awesome.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I have a situation tonight where I'm going to meet with people who are very different from me for the first time, and I have to do it alone because Brian has COVID. So yeah, it's I needed this. Gives me confidence to not say more than I need to say.
Right.
And just yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you. And the session before we went to lunch,
Mhm.
wow.
Yeah,
That
isn't that
one
nice?
really, that one
Yeah.
really got me. It
Yeah.
was perfect.
Yeah.
A lot of movement, a lot of
Yeah.
kundalini.
This is kind of a watered down version, like the approach that we're doing today. It's like a watered down version of the dynamics of the aura, which is like the emotional, mental components of the aura. And the helichrysum would be, you could use it, but like the alchemical north is what you would use, like from that class to do that process. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's even crazier.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you have a sweet kitty cat, will you just check and make sure it's not on your keyboard and sending me special messages?
Are you talking to me?
No, I'm
Yeah.
just doing a general to
Yeah.
people with cats. Someone's cat is sending me a message.
Oh, that's funny. The cat wants to talk.
Yeah, I have about 2,000 messages. Can you clarify
Mhm.
where the back solar plexus is? I thought it was behind the lower ribs. I thought I heard behind shoulder blades.
No, but below shoulder blades. So that mid back area, above the backside of the navel a little bit, but below the shoulder blades.
All right, I think that's it for that one.
Okay. All right. I don't think there's anything else we want to cover. Yeah, so for the next segment, if we're going to break for just a little bit, but for the next segment, try to find some form of hyssop. So if you dig around and find hyssop, have it ready to go. And if there's all kinds of different hyssop, but Solomon's hyssop, it'll work. It's a B choice. But if you just have plain, single oil hyssop or hyssop supreme, that would be ideal. So, okay. So we'll come back at a quarter till the hour. Hey, everybody, let's come on back. And like I said before the break, we're going to be working with hyssop. We good there? Or-
Yeah, I think because you told everyone ahead of
Okay.
time, that's probably.
So you're going to reflect on a past event. Reflect on a past event, some past issue where abandonment, rejection was there, or you were feeling awkward, or you're afraid about rejection or abandonment, just some form of that. And as you're reflecting, you're inhaling the oil. And as you're inhaling and thinking of this past event, your awareness is on your front heart. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then just be still. Just let it all go. Just be still. Your awareness is on the back heart. Your awareness is on the back heart, the area between the shoulder blades. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. You're going to continue with your awareness on the back heart, but now your awareness is on the back heart and the navel at the same time. So between your shoulder blades and down at your navel, both at the same time. And your awareness is on the navel, just the navel by itself. Just let go for a moment. You're just letting go. Begin inhaling on your navel again. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the navel. Your awareness is on the navel and the crown, which is the top of your head, both at the same time. Your awareness is just on your crown. And then just let go. Begin inhaling again. Your awareness is on the crown. Your awareness is on your crown and 12 inches above your head. And your awareness is just 12 inches above your head. Your awareness is 12 inches above your head. Just pause and be still. Pause and let go. This is flushing things out of your system. It's also flushing things out of the basic chakra. You know, all the chakras, but here we're especially cleaning the basic chakra. So it's purifying like defense mechanisms and like hyper reactive or hyper vigilant aspects associated with, you know, protection and things like this. Basically, you're undoing like some of the damage that happened from times when we were abandoned and our feelings got hurt or there was consequences in some situation, social situation or something. The more something stings, you know, the more something hurts in a situation, the more likely you are to be like hyper reactive or hyper vigilant. Hyper vigilant would be just preparing for something to happen, even though nothing's really happening. You're just like you got your guard up. Okay, so we're going to do that again. Recall a past event. Start thinking about it. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And you're still thinking of that past event with your awareness on the front heart. You can talk. And then just let go for a moment. Just completely let go. Your awareness is on the back heart. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Your awareness is on the back heart and the navel, both at the same time. Your awareness is still on the back heart and the navel. Your awareness is on the navel. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Just pause and be still. You're inhaling again. Your awareness is on the navel. Your awareness is on your navel and crown, which is the top of your head, both at the same time. Your awareness is on the navel and crown at the same time. And just your crown. Your awareness is just on your crown. Your awareness is just on your crown. Just let go for a moment. Your awareness is on the crown. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Your awareness is on your crown and 12 inches above your head, both at the same time.
Mm.
And your awareness is just 12 inches above the head. Just let go. Just let go. Just let it incubate. Now, in this state, or we've done a couple cycles of this, reflect on things in your past. As you do that, it will actually help to release it. So go to the areas in your past where you had some very unpleasant interactions, where abandonment was either happening or felt or got triggered, whatever it might be. Just take a few moments and reflect or revisit those times. You don't have to make anything happen. Just put your attention and awareness on it and observe it. Keep reflecting on some of those things in your past. Just kind of sit with them. Let's do this. Sit with it for a minute, observe it. Now, where do you feel it in your body? You feel it in your chest or your back or your jaws? Where do you feel it in your body? You're not inhaling any oils. You're just seeing where you feel this in your body. Go back to those times where you felt abandoned. Really double down on observing them. Now, again, where do you feel it in your body? Just let go. Let's pull out your splendor. We're going to do the 4 quadrants of the aura again. You're inhaling. Your awareness is on the left side of your body. Your awareness is on the left side of your body, head to ankle. Just let go for a moment. Now the front side of your body, down the whole front side, your face down to the tops of your feet. And then pause and be still. Now your right side of your whole right side of your body, right side of your face and neck, shoulder, ribs, hip, down the outer leg to the outer ankle. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then pause. Down the whole backside of the body. Whole backside. Then just pause and be still. Just be still. Check in with your body, your emotions, your thoughts. Check in with those past events. How do they feel for you? I think we lost Samantha. You feel, what's it? A lot better. So Samantha is checking in with past things and a lot better, like you want to, like not a charge or
Yeah. I had one that, I don't know why I didn't think about it being an abandonment issue, but I came to my mind and then I was working it. And I was like, whoa, this is like
Yeah.
really charged.
yeah.
And I felt really charged until we did the full 4 quadrants with Splendor.
Right. Nice. Like abandonment can look a lot of different ways. I've told this story before, and my earlier years when I was doing healing. Part of like doing like research or being able to be effective in healing different areas is, as a healer, you go through and you try to access something like that in yourself. And then you work on it. And then when you're helping people, you're helping somebody with something that you've already kind of struggled with or dealt with, and so at one point I started going back through the years, and I'd go, okay, this age, that age, and I started going year by year. First, I was going from, how like your life is like, these were my early phase. This was my school days. This one, you have like these different stages in life. First, I did the stages, and then I started going like year by year. I'd call up the energy field of that year, and I'd start working it. And you know, there was I'm laughing. There was those areas that I knew, a lot of it was high school and maybe my late teens, early 20s. And like there was some stuff in the mid 20s, but I got to this place where it was age 9. And I'm working that time frame. I'm not really going, oh, this happened. Right. So I'm working it and it's bad. It's like really bad. Like I'm having big, I worked it for 3 months, 3 months. And whenever I'd go and try to access that time, I mean, I would have these like weird emotions, and I'd feel really sad, and a couple times I teared up, and for the life of me, I could not think of what it was. Like nothing bad happened in that time frame, but every time I would go to work on it, like it was bad, and it kind of didn't feel like it was resolving. Like it was really weird. And I could just start thinking of like being 9, and I'd start getting choked up and really upset and everything. And I was like, "Ugh, what's the deal? I was 9. Like what was so traumatic that I'm that upset?" And I started thinking about like, okay, what bad happened? What was a bad thing that happened? And I really couldn't come up with anything. But then I started remembering that, growing up, I lived in this really little tiny town. And so your friends, and maybe it's like that for everybody, but at that age and back in those days, your friends were the kids that were on in the neighborhood, and you'd go out to play at some point in the day, and mom or dad would just say, be back at sundown or something. And you just were off, and that little neighborhood was like a little community, and parents would look after other kids, and we'd be playing at somebody's house, or doing whatever kids do. And you know that's where I lived, that's where I played, that was my life. And then we moved about, I don't know, 10 miles away, not very far. I still went to the same school. It wasn't like things were different, but I wasn't in my neighborhood anymore. And all the friends that I had, I wasn't getting to play with every day. And I was in a new neighborhood, and there was new kids, and I would play with them, but I missed my old friends. And I would go back and play, or try to hang out with my old friends or whatever from time to time. And in a very short amount of time, it felt very clicky. You know what I mean? Like they were doing their thing and they were playing with each other all the time, and I'd show up and they were like, oh, an outsider's here. I very much got treated like an outsider. And they were still my friends, but little kids, they don't have the social skills to, I don't know. And so over a period of time, my old friends just faded away. And not only were they my old friends, they were my first set of friends. And I never really thought about it. I just thought, I got I got new friends when we moved, like nothing bad happened. I just had this other set of friends who turned out to be good friends too, for little kids. And but that time, from that 9-year-old perspective, for a 9-year-old, that's their world. And all of a sudden it wasn't there. And so as silly as that looked at as an adult, when I look back on it, I was like, I was 9. There was friends. I had other friends. We moved 10 miles away. We were going to the same school. I saw them at school, like all the rational thinking. But for that 9-year-old, my world fell apart. As an adult looking back at it, I was like, you're 9, get over it, da 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 da. But in that moment, it kind of rocked my world. And when I went back and hit that, I wasn't thinking about that at all. But it was a thing. It was a big thing. And so it's not just like, oh, that was traumatizing. That starts to affect your physiology. You kind of form ideas and beliefs based on it. You're kind of walking around a little bit like shocked or stunned for a little bit, like you're out of sorts until you get your feet out back in front of you. And then, that other set of friends, they were good friends, but they weren't my first set of friends. It was like, it was good, but it was never like it was that first time. And that's the way life is. We do move on. Like, things are never going to stay the same. But at the same time, when things move and shift and change, um, it can be rough, you know. Then I look at things where, like, maybe somebody in the family passed away, or, for me, a couple of teachers that I love dearly passed away. And, I get it. People pass away, but I also miss them. And in a way, especially the teachers, it didn't feel this way emotionally or mentally, but I would still have these like weird feelings and everything. And there was part of me in my physiology that eventually affected my emotions and my mind. I felt abandoned. It wasn't conscious. It wasn't like I was like, oh, how could they? They died. That was so inconvenient for me. Like, I was thinking none of that. But when they left the body, I went through a phase where I missed them, and, big picture, I get it, and all those things. But every year when it was the anniversary of their passing, ugh, I was like, God, what is that about? You know? And upon reflection and then scanning and looking at it, I was like, I can't believe this, but I feel abandoned. The teacher died and I feel abandoned. Like, how silly and borderline embarrassing is that? And so these ideas of abandonment are not always going to be, somebody not accepting you, or you had an argument with somebody, or everybody at work treat you a little different. Sometimes they're just these weird situations where you had a connection and it went away. I remember one time um, in doing therapy, I was doing therapy with this person, and things were going along, and there's definitely some abandonment issues. I don't know that they necessarily identified it like that, but as we were doing therapy, it became obvious. And based on what they were saying, I suspected that it was like, something to do with one or both of the parents. Not that that even matters, but sometimes I kind of want to also treat the story that they have, so that it doesn't keep perpetuating itself, you know. And so I started asking them a bunch of questions. And I was like, tell me about your mom and your dad. And they said a bunch of really nice things. And I was like, but did you ever feel like maybe one of them ignored you? You know, I did all the abandonment kind of questions. They're like, no. And I was like, well, what about this? Like, what about, you know, did you feel abandoned then? And they're like, no. He's like, okay. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe it wasn't their parents. And so, I was sitting there and I was just looking at them clairvoyantly, and I was like, God, I keep coming back to parents. I don't get it. And at some point I just let it go and move on, start doing therapy. But I had to ask a few more questions just to see. And I started saying, tell me about your childhood. Tell me about, just give me the Reader's Digest version. And they started telling me things, and they said again a bunch of really nice things about their parents. They said, they had a family business, and the parents really worked hard with the family business and put the children through private schools when they, like I think it was like a Catholic school. They sent them to Catholic school for grade school. And then when they went off to high school, they helped them, they paid for private school there. And the parents didn't have a lot of money. And then it came to college, and they helped, put them through college. And the parents did this with a lot of hard work. And so when the person was explaining it, they talked about all the hard work that their parents did and everything. And the issue was that the parents did everything right. They did everything right. The thing was, they were working really hard to provide a good life for their children. But in doing so, they were consumed with their work, and they didn't get to have a lot of like normal, like family time. Like family time was at work. Family time was at the family business. Family time was, okay, we have a little project we're all going to do, we're all going to do this, rather than like playing catch outside or playing, a sport or a hobby or something with the children. The children didn't quite get the attention that they would have gotten if the parents would have had like a 9 to 5 job. And so it's not that the parents did anything wrong. They didn't. They did amazing things. But there was just a little bit of lack of like personal one-on-one time. And even the person said, like, yeah, I don't know that I care. Like, I don't know that bothered me. Like, but still there was a desire to have more interaction with each of the parents. Like, I would have liked more time with my parents. This person very much loved their parents, and nothing bad happened, but there was just the lack of something was there, and that caused the abandonment. So it doesn't always look how you would think, I guess is my point. And so when we're working these areas, it's just a point of perception for the mind. So you can kind of calibrate the mind, but the process will do it even if you recall nothing, right? Even if you go like, I don't have any abandonment, you're still treating the physiological and psychological aspects associated with abandonment. And just because you might focus on one particular thing doesn't mean you're treating a whole bunch of other things that are associated with other times that you were abandoned. Because really what you're treating is the physiological responses. Your body doesn't really care about the story. The body just goes, this happened, that happened, this happened. Let's prepare for it again, next time so it doesn't happen again, or this hurts, whatever it is. It's very, very primal. It's, pictures impact the body more than our thought processes. Emotions, things like this, they will impact it as well. But the story is in the mind. It's not in the body. And really a lot of abandonment is in the body. It doesn't mean we don't have the things in our head. We do. But the more that you unwind the body, it's like the body is the fuel that propels those stories in our head. And so a lot of times we think if we undo the story, the symptoms and the agitation will go away, but it's actually the opposite. If you address the agitation, everything, you'll have something come up and then it just floats away. Yeah. So let's maybe have some shares or questions, or this would be a good time. Don't let me keep talking too long. I'll start telling you all kinds of embarrassing things about my past.
Go ahead, Barbara.
Hey, Barbara.
It's interesting that you chose that particular story to share. What I became aware of is this incident when I was 6.5 that I hadn't looked at as abandonment, but there was a theme between that and the one when I was 16. And for me, it wasn't just abandonment, it was also the fact that it felt like my feelings, my needs, whatever, were totally overlooked, discounted,
Right.
unimportant.
Right.
It's as much that as, or I mean, and maybe that's part and parcel of abandonment, but that was the,
Yeah. No, I would say, those could be abandonment or triggers to the abandonment, because like, if we're going to keep telling like embarrassing stories, or at least if I'm going to keep telling embarrassing stories, um, another one was, I had a best friend from all through high school and a little bit after high school. I mean, still kind of, I guess he'd still might be my best friend in theory, but we don't talk like we used to. Samantha's giving me a dirty look. You're my best friend. But all we always did a lot of things together and everything, and he was my buddy. We did stuff together. And then the thing that caused me to feel like I just missed him after a period of a while, but it's because he got married. And he didn't do anything wrong. He's doing what you're supposed to be doing as you get up and get older and you meet somebody. But I would still see him and stuff. It was just never the same. And I never thought about it as abandonment when it was happening. But as I got older, I was like, yeah, that's what that felt like. That, I would admit, like, it'd be time to go do something. I was like, oh, I'll give him a call. And then I was like, oh, no, I can't. Or we'd still do stuff from time to time, but it wasn't like the old days. And, I just thought, like, it is what it is, or whatever. But looking back, there's a little bit of feeling of abandonment. Like, I wasn't in the herd like I used to be, or I wasn't in that herd disbanded, however you want to say it. Like, you just weren't fitting in quite like you used to. And so abandonment kind of sneaks up on you. It really sneaks up on you.
I had a phrase come up that I don't know what to do with.
Mhm.
And I wonder if it's something generational or from a past life.
Mhm.
Um, is that possible with this work we're doing?
Oh yeah, it's very possible. Um, yeah, I mean, if you look at the generational component, like just that part is, sometimes there's it's not so much the genetics itself, but like sometimes there's behaviors that have gone through the generations. And somebody could have had a really bad habit that got passed down through generations, and it just continued until somebody finally goes, this is BS, I got to knock this off, whatever it is. And it's not something that is even your experience. It's just something you kind of inherited, and it's like how the family of origin maybe behaved, or a few people in the family behave. And so that's very possible. But the thing with past lives is that's always a little bit of an interesting one, because it's not so much like, oh, I abandoned in a past life, so I'm going to be abandoned now. We all got abandoned in this lifetime, regardless of how much of a saint or a whatever we were before. It's just the nature of being in a body. And so, but the thing that I would say about like past lives, because we have information that comes through in our intuition and our intuitional mind or clairvoyant mind that is beyond the senses, and some of that is things that we came in with. And so sometimes we have thought processes, or we have past experiences that were a particular way, and you come into this incarnation and society might not be behaving a particular way, or your family doesn't behave a particular way, or you have an ability or a skill set where it's good, but it makes you also not fit in. You know what I mean? And I would say there's times where, because of these influences, even when you're in a circle of people, you could still and like accept it and whatever, but you could always still have that little bit of, but I'm not fitting in here, or like I'm not feeling heard, or people aren't seeing me for who I am, right? And I would say that last one is probably a big one. And it's not that they're doing something wrong, it's just that they might not even have the skill set to see it. Like they might not have the awareness or the ability to perceive it. Their life and their experiences might be so different, and their way of thinking is so different. People get very narrow, especially when it comes from the intellect. They get very narrow in their thought processes. And so if you're outside that narrow parameter, people kind of don't get it sometimes. And so I mean, like a example of that is like even me with a portion of my family. I don't tell them what I do just because it would be like upsetting to them. Like it's so outside their box. Like, and I'm not doing anything. I mean, I'm doing things that they think is weird, but this is my life. But would be so weird to them that it would be embarrassing to them. Like they would not handle it well. And it's just they're from a completely different tribe. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I totally get the not fitting in piece.
yeah,
This
yeah.
was different though. This was more about, well, the phrase, it was first person, it was giving up my son. I don't have children in this incarnation.
Oh yeah, you totally could bring that through. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that totally could be a thing.
It was profound, and it passed. There was this deep sadness and sense of loss
Yeah,
with it.
yeah.
And it did pass as we went through the rest of the protocol.
I would say that something like that could definitely follow you through. For most people, they would probably never like perceive that or something, but when you do a lot of healing and a lot of meditation and things like that, and there's a lot of stillness, you can see some of the most subtle things in the inner world. And sometimes those kinds of things are there. Yeah, yeah.
And the last question.
Again, like I don't have children, but I would always have these dreams of that my children died. And I'd wake up and I was like, I don't have children. I don't think I have children, like da 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 da. And, I kept seeing that the children died. And they didn't die at the same time, but they died like kind of close together. And I was like, this is a weird dream. And I started really like in the dream, how like sometimes you're a little bit aware. I started looking around and it was a time period. Like, there was a time, like it was a few hundred years ago. And every time I would have that dream, I would start looking around. It was always the same scenario, like the same scene, the same time period. And so, hard to validate that in a lot of ways, but I probably have had that dream 20 times.
Hmm.
And so most likely that's an old memory, that kind of came through because it's always the same landscape. There's always like, the same set of like bushes and trees and this little meadowy area. Like all the things are always the same. And so, hard to say, but most likely that's what that is. And so I would say the same for you with even if you're just having flashes of that, it very well could be.
And a question before I turn over to someone else.
Mhm.
If we were to work the deeper work programming protocol, would that enhance what we're doing today? Or
Yeah, like I'm thinking we're probably going to do the org programming, the thing with Splendor, like maybe at the end of the day tomorrow. Like I didn't put it in the booklet. I went back and forth with it and I was like, well, if we have extra time, we'll pop it in there. And so yeah, we're going to do it tomorrow.
okay,
Yeah,
but
but
it could be done with any of these segments if we
you
wanted
could
to.
do them with any of the segments or just by itself, because the ORIC program will really calm down the limbic function.
Just by itself with the
Yeah,
Splendor.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. You're so welcome.
And go ahead, Tracy.
Hey.
Hello. So I know I always talk about my own abandonment things, but this time, because I got so many of them, but this time, I wanted to talk about two things. One, one time I asked my dad, my brother has a lot of anger issues, and one time I asked my dad, wonder why my brother is so angry, and Daddy said, I guess he's tired of people making fun of him. And I knew, like, I just knew in that moment, Daddy was talking about himself. And,
Hmm.
he product of, he was during the Depression, he had to quit school to take care of his family. And so people thought he was stupid because he didn't
Right,
finish
right, right.
school. And yeah, that just, and I'm like, oh, Daddy, because that makes me feel for him because,
Yeah.
kind of had a hard time. But so in my family, my parents were the silent generation, right?
Mhm.
My brother and sister were a lot older than me and were boomers. And then I came along and I'm really right at the edge, but I kind of feel like I'm more Gen X than boomer. So
Mhm.
already completely different from all of them. Like I went to a very affluent school. They went to a rural school.
Mhm.
So from the get-go, I was just like the redheaded stepchild, which I actually was and didn't realize back then.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's very interesting. This class, I'm kind of going back through all the things and the
Mhm.
things that like friends that I thought were friends, but would just stab
Right,
me back
right,
over
right.
and over
Or they
again.
change a lot, and even if they don't stab you in the back, like they just change a lot, and then you guys kind of drift apart, and or I can remember like I had this circle of friends, and we were all really, really tight, and just a good circle of friends, and one had a baby, one moved away, one got a new job, and then all of a sudden we just never did stuff together, and it was like, oh, like I miss everybody. And I don't know that I would use the word abandonment there, but if I looked at it from an energetic or mechanical point of view, there's still like an abandonment thing, but everybody's life was just being good. We just went in different directions. But still, abandonment's a little bit of a thing, you know?
Yeah, and now we are, we're the owners of the company, so we have all these employees and they all get together and they go out and Brian's been invited once or twice. I got invited the first time the other day and we were celebrating a big win that we had. And so I'm sitting there, Brian hasn't gotten there yet. I'm sitting there with all these people and I feel they don't want me here, because
Right,
they can't,
you're the boss and the
yeah,
outside.
they can't act out, they can't say whatever they want to say and that kind of thing. And it's just that's that same feeling that I tapped into to get today with all the things in childhood and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, oh crap, there it goes again.
You know what would put them at ease in situations like that? Take out a notebook and stare at them and just write things down.
Yeah, that really do it. Thanks, Craig.
Yeah, you're
This
welcome.
class is great. Thank you.
Good, good, good.
Thank you, Greg, for sharing your childhood abandonment examples.
Yeah.
Regarding the 4 segments, would you do all 4 or 1 through 8, or which segments represented your experiences of the friends and teachers?
Oh, I would say do 1 through 8, but I would do the whole thing. We're doing a slow roll. You could really probably power through this in a couple hours, but you wouldn't have to do it daily. As you go through and do it, you're going to find one that is like, it really just rocks your world. And I'd say, that could be the one that you do. That's why I was kind of saying like all these different pieces. Each time we do a different segment, I'm like, this kind of does this kind of does that. Just to give you an idea. But whichever one really, knocked you out or put you to sleep, or you just like yawned, like in the very beginning, you yawned like 30 times in like 5 minutes. And so, something that makes you shift like that. So it doesn't always have to be the whole booklet. Each segment kind of stands on its own, but yeah, yeah. You're what you're doing is you're addressing. I mean, I would talk about it a little bit differently in a different scenario, but you're addressing, each segment is addressing how you process these kind of like situations. And so some of it's emotional, some of it's a mental, some of it is how you observe it and how you apply yourself. You're going after things in your physiology, but you're also kind of shifting how you process the information that comes out of your physiology. And our instinctive responses and those homeostatic emotions eventually turn into our emotions and our higher emotions and also our thought processes. And so a lot of our like opinions and our beliefs and the things that we think about on a repetitive basis is a byproduct of our physiology and the environment. And so, this is like, it's like what I was saying before, this is actually a little bit of a watered down version of the dynamics of the aura. We're not necessarily working the aura in the particular way, but it's kind of almost like the root causes or the seed causes for trauma, fear, stress, like all those kinds of things. The seeds for those are in the physiology. And so, this is like touching those things, but that part of the dynamics of the aura is about like addressing and releasing these traumatic things from the body, from the physiology. And so Um, a lot of the, like when we feel trauma over a period of time, you know, we feel it emotionally and mentally, but the thing that's generating it, it's in your physiology, and you just keep feeling it, and then you keep thinking it. So as much as you work it in your mind and emotions, you keep still feeling it, because the root cause, the seed cause, is in the lower centers, and it's in the physiology itself. And so that's why you'll feel better, and then it slides backwards, and then it feels better, and then it slides backwards. And then we get triggered by the stimuli because our physiology gets triggered, you know. It's not the emotions or the mind. And so that's what that whole dynamics of the aura is allowing like your true nature to come out, allowing your who you really are to come out, instead of the stuff that happened to you that got stored in the body. Like that's it in a nutshell.
Random visual during HISUP. I was very awake and present while inhaling. A lot of movement was happening. When I saw a spaceship taking off, and I dropped the bottle well awake. It's very strange. Was this I let go or left the body for a bit?
Could be. Could also mean you're an alien. No, I don't know. A spaceship. I mean, that means something. You saw a spaceship. Hmm. I mean, do you feel alien? Like sometimes in situations where you kind of stand out, and don't fit in, even though you might be fitting in, you're kind of putting on the mask and fitting in, but really down deep you don't. I'd maybe check in with that.
Big time alien.
Yeah, big time alien. Well,
Yes.
there you go.
I
Is
agree.
it that
That was
don't
me.
need it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's probably more about that. Like, well, plus if you think about it, you came from another country.
Yes.
You know, just that like stirs up you know, you want to feel abandoned, try moving to a different city. You move to a different country. Like move to a different city where you don't know anybody, the culture's a little different, you know, whatever's going on here. You went from one continent to another continent.
But you see, the bizarre thing, I feel more at home here than there.
Oh, good. That's a
So
good
that never actually comes up. I'm sure
Right.
it's body, but I get tormented by the whatever the imagery and stuff of the cultural group of the country that I came from more.
Hmm.
And it's
That's interesting.
not like interesting. I've reflected on this. You know, this country, it feels like more of a, I have the space to process.
Right.
I could have never processed living in Europe.
Hmm.
Like so yeah, but I wanted to share something, if I may.
Mhm.
I feel like this class started before we got on the Zoom. You know, I've been reflecting. So I actually shared that I asked Sam this morning. I had a moment, and it was a very like a deep realization and a moment with myself, and I was guided to write a sentence, almost like an affirmation of such.
Mhm.
And I realized how it made me feel. So whenever I said something, you know, with my soul related to my soul, my body tightened up, and I realized that a part of me, a younger part of me, does not trust my soul, does
Hmm.
not, you know, felt abandoned by my soul. So it
Hmm.
is like lack of trust and lack of like deep surrender into
Mhm.
letting go to the higher soul,
Oh,
you know. I don't know how to make it, but it
Right.
just,
No, I understand. Like if you think of like the stories in the Bible of like the prodigal son or you know, like the story of the prodigal son is kind of a metaphor for the incarnated soul, and also Moses in the desert, you know, where you kind of you leave the house or you're kicked out of the house and you go have all these experiences, and you know the higher soul is investing a piece of itself, and so there is kind of a separation. There is, but there isn't. But the body, the emotions, and even the mind see it as a separation. And you know, the union coming back would be like, you know, the embrace of the father for the prodigal son. No matter what they did, they were still embraced when they come back to the house. And you know, I could see that with the incarnated soul coming in, and you know, you're in this body and you have these restrictions where you used to be this big brilliant light, and then you go back and eventually and you have union again. The separation's in the mind, you know, we're really not separated, but because we're in a form and we have a mind and we feel emotions, it still feels that way. You know, it very much feels that way. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
thank you for saying it,
And,
because that's what it felt. It felt
yeah, yeah.
it's like the human in me, like the
And
little,
think about the more that you do a spiritual practice and the more that you kind of spiritually grow and evolve, your ability to fit in a group becomes harder and harder.
oh,
You know,
great.
it just does. You know, it just does. I remember asking two different teachers the same question, and they said different versions of the same thing. You know, these are people who spend, you know, their whole life doing spiritual practices and everything. And I would ask them, you know, little kid questions, and I think I said to one of them just point blank, like, "What's it like being you?" You know, I want to know what that feels like. You know, it's a silly question, but you know, I was curious. And one teacher point blank just said, "Lonely. It's very lonely." And I started thinking about it. I was like, well, you're surrounded by people all the time. But then I started thinking about, but he doesn't have somebody that's like a peer to him. You know, he's taking care of students, but he wasn't necessarily surrounded by, you know, other sat gurus where they're all hanging out and, you know, telling stories and playing cards and, you know, like whatever it is that people do. You know, even our spiritual practice generates a little bit of it. You know, it wouldn't keep me from doing it, but it's there. You know, like even think about how I think about and say about my family. How if I didn't do any of my practices, I would fit in my family much better. But because I do my practices, it's just there's just distance there, and I can't talk about. I mean, I could, it just wouldn't go well. But like I don't talk about whole big aspects of my life because it would be so upsetting. And so just even that makes me feel even more distance when I go and see these people that I've known my whole life, you know. And so, you know, no matter how you look at it, it's like it's a predicament. You're gonna feel abandonment one way or another, you know, and so you might as well do the things that you love and you want to do, but no matter what, you're going to get it from some direction. And so you might as well just get good at mopping it up.
Perfect. But you know, it feels actually better because even that, because I was guided to write, it was almost like
Mhm.
it was the moment in time when then that realization came in, because it's not something new, you know, I knew kind of
Mhm,
It
mhm,
was the way it kind of presented itself. It
Mhm.
landed this morning, and I'm sitting with it. So doing this practice, through the day, I
Mhm.
keep dropping the bottle very deep, all of it, and
Yeah, good.
beautiful. And then the spaceship and lots of movement and lots of visuals that I can't even remember. But it feels better, and it feels
Good.
like it feels much better, and it feels when I tune into kind of this connection, there is joy in my heart, and there is this
Oh, good.
presence
Yeah,
that I feel,
yeah. Because
so work in
life is
progress.
change. That's the thing. Life is change. Life has cycles in it, and the things that we want to hold on to and have it always be the same, they're very transient. You know, it's you feel good in a day, but the next day you don't. You feel bad in a day, the next day you feel better. You have a circle of friends, then everybody goes in their different directions, and then there's periods where you feel alone for a while, and then you have this circle of friends. It's just everything's very transient. And so you know the more that you get good at being able to temper the abandonment, the more that you can be more fluid in the flow of life.
Okay, I think we need this class once a month.
Yeah. Next weekend is this on steroids.
Okay, good, good,
Yeah,
good,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
everyone, like you were talking about your childhood, and right
Yeah.
now it made me remember there's like it was a joke in the family. I have a very small family. I mean, but I never looked like them. I never,
Right.
I had habits like they were eating meat. I was throwing up from eating meat.
Right.
I was like, I didn't look at like them. I was very different to begin with, physically and as a
Mhm.
child. And they kept kind of laughing, we're like, you are this and you're this, you're the milkman, so da, 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 da. So they were kind of abandoning me without even realizing, or whatever it was. They weren't abandoning me, but it was just a joke. I was never,
Yeah, you just didn't fit in. Yeah.
but they weren't kind of, mm, they weren't helping, put it this way.
Right.
They weren't helping the matter,
Yeah.
So it was, but I completely forgot about that till now. Thanks. But anyway, so yes, thank you. Thank you,
It's
thank you,
all
thank you.
What is the difference from doing that protocol we just did with the hyssop and the meditations this past week with Astara?
Oh, for the hyssop version is very similar. Yeah, like very similar. Yeah, the hyssop, kind of purifies things up. But also the thing that we did in Star, we did a little bit more advanced version of this. Um, Still very powerful, just different. Different because you're not using the oil, but still very, very similar.
It said, I leave the body when focusing 12 inches above my head
Yeah.
in that meditation.
So like both in this last practice and one of the other, a couple of segments ago, we did one where again we went up. So why we're doing that, we're going through or working the chakras, but why we're going from the crown up is if there is any sort of karmic issue in here, or we've made mistakes in our lives and we keep having this repetitive pattern. So we go through and these are a kind of transmutation, you could say. And when you go from the crown and you raise it up to 12 inches above your head, you're putting your awareness where the incarnated soul anchors. The incarnated soul anchors 12 inches above your head, right? So when you go through and you work these processes, and then you move, you go through and you purify, and then you move your awareness up, what you're doing is you're sending the signal, you could say, that as you get up to that 12th center is lesson learned. I've learned my lesson, right? Because one of the quickest ways to break out of a karmic pattern is to learn your lesson. And so when you go through and you are purifying all this and then you raise your awareness up, when you truly have learned your lesson, that's what happens. All this is happening. You have a realization. Your mind goes into the intuitive state, and then that signal or that energy moves up to the 12th, that area above your head, and registers as lesson learned. So we're establishing that pathway and trying to drag some of that energy up so that it registers up there as lesson learned. So if there is a karmic pattern there, it by doing the process in that way, you're diminishing that karmic issue. Yeah. Like next weekend we're doing the dynamics of the aura, and that's all about diminishing the karmic imagery and things that are associated with the emotional and mental body. And so, you know, I wanted to still even touch on it here. So there's a much stronger version being taught next weekend, but still, at least you have something that you can touch on here that's very specific to the abandonment
They said thank you for sharing, because this past week I've had amazing realizations and lessons learned.
thing. Oh, tremendous. Good for you.
So this is not that I'd want to do a shortcut version of everything we're doing, but and I don't think this would work, but I'm just checking. So just doing the part without the splendor, like going, if I wanted to do all 8, like
Oh,
do that,
mhm.
just do each of the things, and then at the end, do the splendor.
Yeah. So if you wanted to go like doing the splendor with each segment makes it deeper, but if you wanted to do like a quickie, you could just do the segments and then do splendor at the very end. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't sure, because every time we do the splendor, it feels like it's like cleaning house. It's
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
clean that one, so it's not as intense for the
Right.
next, but
Right. Well, I would say, you know, here we're doing a therapy session / class. And so even if you do like a shorter version of it, you still had the big version in class, but you know, the goal is like what you're doing with the splendor and the limbic system. The more you calm down the limbic system, the more, even when abandonment is happening active right here, right now, you're like, you know, I can't tell you how many times I was so upset that I left a job or left a company or left something that I was doing. How can I stay? And it was horrible for me to stay. And when I landed on my feet, I was in such a better place. But I fought it tooth and nail, because I guarantee you, if I looked at it mechanically, it's just abandonment. Like you know, I don't want to let go of the stability. I don't want to let go of fitting in. I don't want to let go of my routine. I don't want to let go of fill in the blank. And so that really comes down to how agitated or how calm those limbic you know, the limbic system is. So
all right. We have the wow class. Thank you. Today's oil for a salt bath.
I would choose one of the ones that we just did. I would do mugwort. I would do basil, hyssop. I mean, splendor, if you have it, splendor would be good. Frankincense could be another good one. Let's see. For the Master Aura series, it would be what? Lotus. Yeah, that's a little crazy bath. Yeah, mugwort, basil, bay laurel, Paragon, you know, any of those.
And the spagyric tincture to infuse it.
Spagyric tincture for this is lotus, the blue lotus. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
And then go ahead, Teresa.
Hey, Teresa.
Hey, Greg. Just to make sure I lock in what I believe you just said. So on the limbic, calming the limbic down, that would be splendor, right?
Yes.
And then doing the 4 quadrants of the aura would just continue to diminish whatever is in the physiology.
Yeah, well, that would also calm down limbic function. Like so you could do that in, Splendor is in the auric programming for the limbic system. So you could do
Got
the
it.
long version of that. Yeah. But you know
Okay.
how you're always asking about like, how do I get trauma out of the body and everything?
Yep.
This is like kind of a version of it, but next week is the mothership for you.
Oh, is it the mothership for me?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's all about getting the trauma and fear and stress out of the body.
Well, I felt like today was pretty gentle, so I think things have worked really well. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
good.
Thanks.
I think that was the day.
Yeah.
Thank you. Lots of thank you.
Oh, helichrysum would be another good bath. So I think of this just because Teresa loves the Empepo. Empepo is also very good for cleaning up some of this in a bath. Yeah. Good for inhalation. Put it right up there with the helichrysum. So. Okay, well, we will come back in the morning and start with, I think it's tarragon. Yeah, tarragon will be in the morning. And we'll go deeper with that. So get a good night's sleep, and we'll start at 10 in the morning Central Time, and we'll talk to you then.
Thank you so much. Enjoyed it.
Thank you, Greg and Sam. See y'all tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.